Well, hey everybody, it's Curtis. I am so excited to talk about the next 24 hours, a different kind of podcast. If you've never tuned in, this is the perfect opportunity because today we're going to be talking with Alyson Lundell, and she's the Senior Director of Public Relations for Universal Orlando Resorts. She is a good friend. She has real content she's going to be sharing, all things public relations, all things marketing, advertising. If you're into leadership, she's going to talk to us today about how she has created one of the most dynamic teams I have ever been around. You're not going to want to miss it. Get ready to live the dream. Welcome to the next 24 hours, where I'm going to give you real information you can really use to transform your life and work one day at a time. I'll be your host, Curtis Zimmerman. Well, let's not wait any longer. I'm so excited to bring Alyson into the program. Now, let's remember Alyson works at one of the most amazing places on the planet, one of the biggest brands in the entire world, Universal Orlando Resorts. And she has been there for years, but more importantly, her personal story on leadership and the way we met. We're going to get into all that, but let's welcome her to the program. Good morning, Alyson. How are you doing today?
I am so good. I'm living the dream, Curtis.
Living the dream. I am so excited to have you on the program. And I wanted to do a quick backstory, and then you can fill in any of that I didn't cover. I was asked to come and speak out at Universal a few years ago for the marketing and advertising global department. Everybody flew in for that, and it was a big program. It was exciting. I know you were in the audience. I came back and did something else for somebody we both know and love, Dan Donovan. And then all of a sudden I got this call from you, and I wanted you to just tell a little bit of the story of what was it that you saw and then you knew in your team, and you thought, we should come and have this crazy juggling guy come and speak to my folks. What was your thinking on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, you're just so inspiring. When we were in the audience listening to you that day, everyone just left with this renewed sense of, I need to go be better and I can be better. So when we really started a few years later looking at what was important to our team and the growth that our team needed to start seeing, because I head up the public relations efforts here, we knew we had a close-knit group, but in order to take our PR efforts to the next level, we needed to be a little bit vulnerable, and we needed to have conversation with ourselves about the things that we're probably not focused on right now, and how can we get better at those, and let's identify them together as a team. And so, really a big part of our lives is storytelling, and we have such incredible stories that we can tell across all of our parks, all of the hotels, everything that our destination has to offer. So it was kind of like, well, duh, we need to get together and talk about these things. But I really knew we needed somebody who could help guide us through that conversation, so we didn't fall into old habits and just talk to ourselves. Somebody who could really open that up for us. And it was a great day that we spent with you, really diving into the things that need to be the front focus for this team.
Wow. Well, first off, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I had obviously an amazing time, and that's what leads us to us talking today. I wanted to just do a deeper dive on what you just said, and that is, so you're in charge of the PR team there at Universal, and there are so many people that I speak with that are in marketing, advertising, PR, and I was hoping to get your insight a little bit into, again, let's just remember that I work with all different kinds of companies, and a lot of people get to do PR on diapers or on construction or on roofing but you literally get to talk about Harry Potter and Shrek and Transformers and The Simpsons and like some of the most amazing superheroes, like these brands that are so big, it's mind-boggling. And like you said, some of the biggest hotel brands in the world and restaurants and even Voodoo Donuts, I know, is there now. So it's so exciting. But my question for you is, how are all of those things, PR, marketing, advertising, Are they kind of melding in together? Do we need to integrate those together? I'm trying to get this to my listeners because those were all separate departments and those people did or did not talk in the past. How do you feel that's changing moving forward, even with the giant brands that you use? How important is it that that's integrated?
Oh, it's completely vital, and it's something that we are still in the process of growing into our own skin now as well. In exactly what you're talking about, it's more of this integrated marketing approach. It's not a new concept. People have been evolving this way for some time, but what's happening is we're evolving in the way we communicate with our clients or our consumers, and at the same time we, especially Universal Orlando as a company, are evolving as a marketing and sales organization. We have more people, we have a need for more research and technology and information than we've ever had before. And so when you start to bring all of those people together, the room can start to feel a little bit big. But it's so vital to making sure that we're all on the same page, because if just one of those groups, if it's our social media team, is off doing something on their own and the rest of us are not aligned and ready to support that, it's not serving the greater good. And we can all amplify together if we're coordinated and we've collaborated up front. And that's really the shift that our division has had to make in the last 4 to 5 years, is how do we get better aligned and get better communication with each other so that we're all in this together, shoulder to shoulder, as we launch even the smallest little detail of a campaign. So it is vital to the success of the marketing overall that we're trying to do in order to get to those consumers that we know are going to come here and be vital to our business, and frankly just having fun and making memories out there. That's what our jobs are, which you're right, I'm not selling diapers. I get to help people make vacation memories together that are going to last forever, and that is a pretty special role that we all have and take very serious here.
Wow. I just, the passion that I hear when you speak, it resonates in every room I've ever been in with you. And I wanted to do a little bit of a backstory of something that I was so honored to be able to witness. And that was just a few months ago. As we mentioned before, you're in charge of PR at an amazing organization. I worked at Universal Studios in California years and years ago. And when I got the call to come and speak at Universal Studios Orlando, Universal Studios Resorts, I was so excited. But I have to be honest, what I experienced going to the Florida Public Relations Association. You had me out to speak to your folks in the PR department. We spent a whole day together, went in the parks. It was amazing. But then the other side of that is your history in the public relations just arena is pretty crazy. So my understanding is your mom and dad were part of public relations for years. I understand that your father was actually the president of the Florida Public Relations Association years and years ago. And what I felt so honored was to be sitting in the audience when something very special happened. I was wondering if you could share what just happened a few months ago for you in your life and kind of the journey of standing on the stage there.
Sure. So yes, you're right. I'm an active member of the Florida Public Relations Association, and we are 1,200 members strong across the state of Florida, um, all walks of the PR industry. So people from travel and tourism to nonprofit to agencies, and we all come together and leverage our membership just to talk about issues, trends, just learn and better and grow ourselves as professionals. And frankly, the thing that I love about FPRA is that it truly is this family of friendships and mentors that all come together and serve one another and help each other. And in particular, it's very important to my family because, as you mentioned, my dad was a member for several years. He was the president of the association 35 years ago. And during the past conference in August, where we install our new board of directors, I was installed by my dad as the president for this year ahead.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. It was really special because I really look out at that group of people as people who are almost like extended family to an extent, because I grew up with the association. I knew a lot of them when I was in those awkward teenage years and had big hair, and they still talk to me today. So it's a really great group, but I take this role so serious because of those connections and of the importance that it has for my family. So it's really exciting.
Well, I'll tell you, to sit there and see the team, your team from Universal, some top executives sitting there, your mom, your dad, family members, your boys, and seeing you up on stage with your dad, it like brought tears to everyone's eyes. It was an amazing moment that in my career I'll never forget. But I also have to say that you had let me in on ahead of time that everything in every business, I talk about change being the new normal, and you talk about how we all need to be willing to transform and move into the future. So that goes with everybody I talk to, every company I work with. And even though the moment with you and your dad swearing you in and all that was amazing and people cried, I have to be honest with you, there was another moment that you created that I've been to literally thousands of conferences, and I've never seen the same reaction to everyone jumping out of their seats, grabbing their phones, forgetting about the conference, and running up and taking selfies. It was a crazy moment. And I want you to unveil what happened. So you were talking about transformation, and we're going to talk about why that's important and why that's your theme for this year. But tell me a little bit about how that happened, because it was amazing.
Well, thank you. That's very kind for you to say. Yeah, so I did have a theme. My theme for the year is transforming FPRA as an association, because there's so much more that we could be doing to grow our membership and offer really high quality professional development. And so there's a lot of vision that I wanted to share with the membership, just so they knew where we were headed in the year ahead. But it was really important to me that I infuse a little bit of myself into this moment. And I had picked this theme completely separate of what ended up happening. It just kind of I had an epiphany moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have something that relates to me here at Universal Orlando that I can bring and kind of really pump up this moment. So I asked everyone if they were ready to help me transform the association, because it truly is something I cannot do by myself. I need everyone's help. And in order to start training for that, I wanted to bring in two of the top experts on transformation to get us started as an association. And in that moment, I introduced Optimus Prime and Bumblebee to come out. They were truly the rock stars of this moment, and to speak with our attendees about, transformation and how they can help us, and just to really inspire the moment for the members. And you're right. I in that moment, I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but everyone was out of their seats and cameras were rolling, and it was just a lot of fun, and there was a lot of really positive energy. And that's, you talk about sharing your gift with people, and if you keep it to yourself, then it's no good to anyone else. And I think I always like to bring energy to the table, probably a little too much at times, but that in that moment, that was me infusing myself into something that's really important to me, both from work and in my spare time with FPRA.
And I just have to, I mean, it was a moment that will go down in history for your conference and every conference I ever go to, believe me. So I have to just make sure people understand. In the link below or somewhere, we will definitely get the pictures. We have some pictures of what this actually looks like. But these aren't these little tiny, like, you see for Halloween, kids' dad made a little transformer. These are giant sized, huge. I mean, I don't know how tall they are. They've got to be 7, 8 feet tall, would you say?
Easily, yeah.
I mean, They are gigantic. They look exactly like they walk off the movie set, came out of a cartoon and walked in. If you've never been to Universal and you've seen them, it was literally those giant guys. It was crazy. And then you had people, they were able to take a photo op later, and it was just amazing. And it's something that I think so many people are afraid to do, and that is bring amazing into everyday life. And what you do at the parks and what you do as a job is talk about what amazing looks like, make it digestible, and make it accessible to as many people as possible. Literally tens of thousands of people every day get to experience amazing because of what you bring. And transforming an organization is also amazing. So, what I would like to say is, I've seen your team. So, let's go back to the group that you work with at Universal. I've seen them transform as well. And I want to just talk about you and your leadership style, because it's so important that the listeners understand who we have right now we're talking to and what your take on is. And that is, you were just talking about giving away your magic, sharing what it is you have. You don't have all the answers, so you're going to bring in others. Well, lots of people that become you, that deal with these giant brands, and they're the expert, and they become the Yoda. And they don't want other people's input because they're going to run their team their way. And one thing that I just adore and appreciate and think that is so stellar in your leadership style is, you say, well, yeah, I've been in this my whole life, and I understand it very well, and I'm collaborating with lots of people, and I'm the president now. But I also know that other people can bring different things to my team. So there's an amazing guy that you work with that I love with all my heart, Dan Donovan, and he does something called Strength Finders, and he's a Strength Finder coach. And I know you're going to bring him in, and you're going to have your team go through strengths. And then you saw me on stage, and you said, hey, we should bring Curtis out for a day, and we're going to go and learn from him, and then we're going to do this other thing. And can you just try to explain to the group why it's so important, everyone that's listening, even if you're a rock star like you are, which you are, that you bring other people in to share their gifts? That is something that's so critical that I don't see enough of.
Yeah, no, one of my big philosophies, and this is a little self-deprecating probably, but is that I know I don't know it all. I am only as good as what I've heard in this world, the people I've learned from. I know I can learn so much more from other people, and I think that's something that I watch leaders, because I've certainly had my fair share in my career. You kind of see leaders lose that over time, and feel like they have to have all the answers. And I know I don't, and that's okay. And I want to surround myself, not only in my team setting, with people who are way smarter than I am, but also give them that opportunity and have them learn different perspectives. Because I think the biggest leap we make as people who are workers and believe in something and are working on a common goal, then transitioning into a leadership role, is that it's not about you anymore necessarily. It's about the people that are supporting you and standing by your side every day, helping you get the job done. And my job now as a leader of this team is to take down barriers for them and to give them the tools they need to do their job, and to encourage them and reward them and congratulate them along the way. It's not about me landing a big story in the New York Times anymore. That's not my job. And that is a hard transition for people to make, when all you've known your entire career is, I've got this goal and I'm going to go achieve this goal and I'm going to have the trophy at the end of the day. Now the trophy is, for instance, bringing you in and having the team learn from you for a day like they did. And then at the end of it, the feedback was so positive and so grateful that they felt like we had invested into them, and they saw how much we care about them as a team and how much we want them to grow. And I think for me, that's my win now. So that's kind of how I approach it, is their wins are now my wins, and that's okay. And I think if leaders can accept that and understand that it's okay that you're not the smartest person in the room anymore. I think they have so much more success in their career with their teams.
Hey, I'm going to jump in real quick. It's me, Curtis, and I want to let you know that I love doing my podcast. I also obviously love doing my keynote speech. Generally, I'm at big events. I'm the opening keynote to get people fired up. I'm the closing keynote to make people think about how can I go and take this information and use it over the next 24 hours. But I need your help because I want to reach more people. If you're listening to this content, if you've seen my keynote, if you read my book and you think it's important, I want you to share it with people. I want you to think about who might Curtis's message resonate with and then let me know. Seriously, call 513-229-3626. Let's see if we can put a date on the calendar. I'm booking out the next 6 months and I want to talk to more people, but I can't do it without your help. Have a great day. Thank you for your help and your support. Enjoy the rest of the next 24 hours. Wow, I'm just so impressed as usual, but it's easy to sit in a boardroom. It's easy to sit in a room with me and say what you just said. That's the easy part. Demonstrating the behavior you just talked about is the hard part. So I hate to do this, but again, I have to just draw out a little bit of what I saw compared to what I hear so much. So I can be hired to come and give a speech, and we'll do meetings ahead of time. You and I had calls ahead of time about what we want to move the needle on and what people are doing well, and all that's great. Then I finally get there, and the person that brings me in, that is everyone is looking at that person as their leader. They'll sit in the back of the room on their phone. They'll get up and walk out 3 or 4 times. They're not really engaged now that I'm there. Now, the opposite exactly happened. I showed up. You were already in the room. You had already set all the tables with all of the Living the Dream materials. You were there engaging with people. You were getting people, hey, can I get you something to drink? What happened last night? How are you doing? I mean, talking 8 o'clock in the morning, you were up, you were vibrant, you were jacked up. As we went through the day, you were involved in every single activity. You didn't watch them. You participated fully and collaborated in everything we did. You let me take the lead, even though you were the leader, and you had fun and engaged with the team. What I saw from that, when we were able to have our meeting at the meeting for the Florida Public Relations, we were able to spend another hour together, was I saw them become a loving family. And they were sharing around the table how, boy, at lunch, we go out and we go to lunch together, and we had another team member from Universal walk by and said, don't you guys work together? And they're like, yeah, we work together. Why are you having lunch together? Don't you guys work all day together? They go, no, we have lunch 3 or 4 times a week together. We love each other. And the other person had this face and they said, you know, I've never had lunch with anyone I work with since I've been here. That is so special.
Yeah, it is.
Tell me about that chemistry, because that's the secret sauce that everybody wants, and people think it's about them, but it's so important that you can share just for a minute or two, you know, how did that happen? What is it about you and your team? Obviously, just so everyone knows, they're super bright. They're totally talented. They're totally committed. They told me how somebody else on their team had this project they needed to mail out like 1,300 pieces of something, and they just found out about it and needed to be up by 5 o'clock, and how no one was asked, but everyone stopped what they were doing, worked with that person for 4 hours, and it was done. They high-fived each other, and they went back to their own projects. What's going on here? That's crazy talk.
Well, I have to be honest. I've been with Universal for 11 years now, and it hasn't always been that way. I'm very fortunate right now. I have probably the strongest, most dedicated, most passionate team I've ever had here. And I think that's a combination of things, because I don't do all the hiring. My managers underneath me are really the ones who I let them hire the people that they know are going to do the best job for their in particular areas of expertise that they're working on. So, a lot of that credit of the quality people we're getting in here now goes to them. But I will say, and this is a philosophy that I've tried to instill across the board with our team, is that, when I'm approaching something like that from a hiring standpoint, it's not necessarily the person who has the strongest experience and has been, in an agency or at a competitor or wherever the life may have taken them. I'm looking for skill set, of course, but I'm more looking for passion, because I can't teach that. I can teach you how to write a press release and how to jump in and do a mailing for 1,200 pieces at the last minute. I can teach you how to do a press trip. I can teach you how to do all these other things, but I can't teach you how to have passion. And that's something that is almost more important to me than the skill set, because if I get somebody in here who is so excited to be with us and who believes in what we're doing and who understands the mission of Universal Orlando, then everything else comes along with it. And I think that's what you see in this team, because you said it yourself, you could see their passion and their energy. I think they love each other because they know that they're all here working on the same common goal, and they all love the product and they want to be together working on it. And that family atmosphere is super important to me. And I think the cultural way that I lead and my managers lead is what it brings that about and out of them. I don't ask them to go to lunch together. They just do it, so we don't have to force fun, which I love. I hate forced fun. It's just naturally something that we all like to be together and work together. And they also know if there are those moments when the rubber hits the road and it is all hands on deck, that it's not just them. It's the managers. It's me. It's even our VP of corporate communications from all parks and resorts level. He will jump in as well. So it is truly a collaborative, we're all in it together environment that we're trying to create. And I think the people that we have here are the best I've ever seen and are doing it together because they genuinely want to be together.
Wow. And I would just say it might be the best they've ever seen because they've had the best leader they've ever seen, but that's just me.
I don't know about that.
And well, I'm telling you, it's why I wanted you to share so badly with all of our listeners. And I say it so often, and that is that passion supersedes natural ability. And yeah. That's what I heard you just say in a different way. And anyone that has a college student or a child who's getting ready to get out of college and wants to go get the dream job, I certainly hope you have them listen to this podcast, because this isn't just me up on stage saying this. This is a top executive at one of the biggest brands on the planet telling you that's what she's looking for. Passion is more powerful than anything else when you're in an interview and when you get the actual job, bringing that to life every day. So I just so much agree with that. One more insight I'm looking for, and then we're going to let you go, and that is right now with social media, right now with everything, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all the things that people are using as communication devices. We at the conference experienced somebody who came in and was talking about a horrible thing that happened in Las Vegas with the shooting and all of these things. But one of the big takeaways was by the time they did their very first press release, their very first press conference, the first time they were on television talking about what had happened, that there were already millions and millions of bits of information out into the world telling stories already about this event. And I know that's true, whether it's a terrible event or a grand opening of a new park at Universal. Literally everybody today is in PR, is in advertising, and everybody has their own 14 million people watch my Snapchat, and they're doing their own stories on your story. If I'm doing that as a profession somewhere, if you're talking to your organization right now that you're the new president of, what would you say how can we take that, embrace it, and use it to our benefit rather than try to work against it? Because that's not going to work.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was going to say you have to embrace it and then you said it because in this day and age, you're right. Every single person is a communicator in some way, shape, or form. And
Mm.
I will tell you, for us at Universal, 9 times out of 10, if there's a situation happening and we're trying to talk to people about that, your people who are your fans. So we have a wonderful built-in fan base with our annual pass holders.
Mm.
9 times out of 10, they're coming to our charge and they're speaking for us sometimes because they believe in us, they're passionate about us. And, when those issues happen, they can be your best allies. Now, there are times when social media can work against you, but that's that's what we're here for. That's why public relations and marketers exist, is to try and help tell the story on behalf of our organization. And we're in an age now where transparency is so much more important than it ever was before. And we're not hiding anything. So, how we help people understand something that's going on and help our fans understand something that's going on and embrace this real-time reporting world that we're in is vital. And it has to be as quickly as you can possibly do it in this day and age, because if you're seen not embracing it, that becomes a story itself. So, it's tough. It's a tough environment to be in, and news cycles are not news cycles anymore. It's 24 hours, and how you react in the moment can make or break a situation. So, my best advice there is to just be prepared and be transparent, because 9 times out of 10, well, the vast majority of the time, your constituents, your fans, those that are with you are going to have your back and follow suit. But you have to be out there talking to them.
Well, I love that. And I would just have to say, for me, it's refreshing because there used to be something called spin. Yes. And what I'm hearing you say, due to the world at large and everybody has a communication device, is that the day of spin has to go to the wayside. Transparency is the ruler. So that brings me back to morals, ethics, and value based decision making and telling the truth, even when it hurts to tell it. And that to me is, to be honest with you, so refreshing, especially when you have so many amazing truths to share about your amazing brands and services where you work. So I just think that's so insightful, and it makes people stop filtering and just tell the truth. And boy, you're going to be so happy with the outcome, because ultimately your fan base is going to find out the real truth. It will.
That's right. That's right. I think if you ask Starbucks executives right now about that, they are the gold standard right now for how to handle a crisis. They did it the perfect way by shutting down all their stores, putting their team members through training. That is a huge decision for a corporation of that size to make, but they did it perfectly. It's kind of like the Tylenol situation from way, way, way back in the day when they pulled all the product off the shelves, because it was the right thing to do. If people just lead by doing the right thing, you're going to end up at the right end road at the end of the story. So,
Spoken like a true leader. Spoken like a true leader. I love it. So I cannot let you off the hook. Everybody that's listening is saying, Curtis, please let us know. Are there any surprises? Is there an inside scoop that you, Alyson, you can give us about something coming up at Universal? Anything that is like a little surprise, or what's exciting in the next couple years, if I am a fan, which I'm a massive fan, that I should be looking forward to?
Well, that's the great thing about Universal Orlando in particular, is that we have been on this massive evolution train since 2010 when we opened the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And so we're not stopping. We haven't stopped in a decade, and that train is rolling fast and furious down the track right now. Next year, we have a brand new show based on the Bourne movie franchise that's coming. It's called the Bourne Stuntacular, and it is truly unlike any kind of show anyone has ever experienced. I can say that because I saw a testing of it last week. I can't give away too many details yet because there's more to come on that, but it is actually going to blow people's minds. But that opens next year. On the heels of that, we have some really exciting stuff happening in the Islands of Adventure right now. I can't say too much, but in the year ahead, we will be opening some really thrilling things over there. So people should keep an eye out for that. But I think the big thing that people are really excited about right now is that we did announce about a month or so, maybe a few months now ago, that we're going to be opening an entirely new theme park called Universal's Epic Universe. In the future, we'll be opening that park. It's in Orlando. It's not actually near where we currently are today. It's just a few miles down the road, and will give us the ability to create something on the same footprint that our entire resort is on today,
Wow.
just down the road from us. So it's huge. It's a huge project with incredible attractions, hotels. I mean, it is really going to up the game and completely change the face of theme park entertainment with the technology that's being put into it. So it's a game changer, and it is going to be here, I'm sure, before we know it. But yeah, there's a ton of exciting stuff going on. So people just need to, stay in touch with us, and we'll be given a lot more details in the next several months.
Wow, that is so impressive. And anyone that's listening and you have a product launch or you have somebody that you're doing PR for and you're stressing out, just think about what she said is in the future for her over the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, it is enormous, and she's excited about it, living with passion to make that happen. And I have to tell you, just so you know, I used to open for the Miami Vice Action Spectacular, and I'm guessing that this show you're talking about is going to, the Born series is going to be a little better than the Miami Vice Action Spectacular that I opened for years ago.
Maybe less hot pink.
Say no to Dayglow. I'm with you. Well, thank you so much for all that you give and the time you gave us today. And we will definitely be keeping our eye out for all the exciting things moving forward. And I just wanted to one more time wish you the best of luck this year as you help transform the organization there in Florida, the Florida Public Relations Association, and everything else you do. Thank you for sharing it today.
It's been a pleasure, an honor, and an absolute blast. So thank you, Curtis.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, it's that time again. Time for my favorite part of this podcast. It's called the 24-Hour Challenge. What you have to do is find an amazing story about somebody you work with, about somebody you live with, about somebody in your life, or a brand or an amazing experience you've had in the last 6 months. I want you to do a short little video on it. I want you to tag me in that. And I want to help put out great content about positive things. We need people to know there are people living the dream every day, but we just don't share those enough. That is your challenge. Go rock it. I can't wait to see what you post. Hey, thank you for listening to the next 24 hours. I want to know, do you want to live the dream? Because if you do, all you have to do is go to curtiszimmerman.com, click on Want to Live the Dream, and I'm going to send you out an official Living the Dream wristband as a gift. Remember, in order to live the dream, you have to make the next 24 hours count. The clock is ticking.